Contractor Vice President, KGOC Senior Management, our distinguished guests and participants, ladies and gentlemen, good morning everyone. My name is Mr. Shamiri. I'm the Superintendent for EHS, a Joint Operational Park. It gives me a great pleasure to extend to you all a very warm welcome on behalf of Joint Operations Management, and to say to you how grateful we are for you all for accepting our invitation to attend our 10th annual EHS Forum on preventing serious fatalities. I believe today is the opportune time to discuss problems of mutual interest and to refresh our networking here with delegates from joint operations, business partners, as well as other companies. Our agenda for today is full with interesting subjects, so we need to make sure that all subjects discussed here are cascaded all the way down to all employees in our organization. So, we need you to focus with us, so please switch off your mobiles and let us keep the side talk until we have the break time. We're going to have enough time to chat together as meeting. I leave it now for Mr. Nurjan Qasim. He will go with you through the agenda of the meeting, and he will do the safety moment for you. Nurjan?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mansour. Good morning, everyone. Again, very warm welcome. My name is Nurjan Qasim. I'm a senior safety engineer. I will guide you through the agenda today. I will be with you for the entire day, giving introductions and other things on the stage. So before we get to the agenda, to the details of the agenda, I would like to briefly explain what is the evacuation plan for this building. We are located in the Eldora ballroom of the Kuwait Hilton Resort. So all these green circles indicate fire exits. We have one in this corner, one in this corner. On the poster contest section, same type of exits in the corners. In case of any alarm, I checked with the hotel, there is no drill plan or whatsoever today, so in case if we hear alarm, that's probably most likely a real situation. Without panic, let's evacuate the building and proceed to the fire assembly point, which is located right opposite to the main lobby entrance of the hotel. This is Eldora. We are located here. So if you are exiting the building from the back, this is the way to proceed. And if you are taking the front doors, this is the way to go. Wait there until the further notification from the hotel emergency response team. The lunch will be served in the tent, Royal Marquee tent over here, and will start at 12 o'clock. Now to the agenda. Apologies for delay. We're starting at 9 o'clock, so we'll have our general manager, Mr. Hamid Al-Tibi, do some opening remarks. We're going to have KGOC CEO share the perspective of KGOC on the forum theme. The forum theme, as was already announced, is preventing serious injuries and fatalities. After that, we'll have Mr. Ahmed Al-Omar, SAC President, to share Saudi Arabia and Chevron's perspective on the forum topic. And we have a guest speaker today, Mr. David Payne, Vice President of Global Drilling and Completion, coming from Chevron Global Upstream. We are going to have a coffee and tea break after that. However, we're not going to do the poster contest, just because we did it already between 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock. We're going to have a shorter coffee and tea break for about 10-15 minutes. After the tea break, we're going to have one of our business partners, Schlumberger, to share their best practice on managing the safe journey, basically on motor vehicle safety. If we still have some time, we will try to do leadership panel discussion. If we're really approaching to the lunchtime, we'll probably skip it and let everyone forward their questions on little forms that we have distributed along with the packages with little bags that you all have. There's little forms, so we ask all of you write down your question to the JO leadership, the question about the forum theme, preventing serious injuries and fatalities. Lunch break at the tent, as I mentioned, Royal Martini is the place. After the lunch, 1 o'clock, we'll resume our forum activities and we will have our annual awards session. We have a partnership, EHS partnership, EHS performance, and Contractor of the Year award. After we finish with the awards, we'll have a little lucky draw session. There is real good prizes, so we expect good participation. I guess everyone has an opportunity to write down their name and drop it into the bowl at the registration. And after we complete our lucky draw, we'll do a wrap-up session. Mr. Robert Bowman and Mr. Hamoud Al-Atebi will give us a few minutes of wrap-up and share takeaways from the day. And that's pretty much it for today. We're still going to be available here for networking until 3 o'clock. The venue is ours. So please enjoy the forum today.
Good morning. My name is Hamoud Al-Atebi. I'm the General Manager of Operations Operation. On behalf of Geo Management staff, I'd like to welcome all of you. Our special welcome to our distinguished guests from SAF Executive Management, led by Awad. Welcome Awad and your team. I'd like to welcome also our GOC members and our guest speaker, Mr. David Bain. Thank you for coming and sharing your views with us today. We highly appreciate your expensive time being spent with us. You've always been helpful to us and you continue to do so. Thank you very much for that. Gentlemen, welcome to our 10th GO Forum, which is really designed basically to save all of us. This forum, this is the 10th year that GO is doing, and all our objective and our goal is to go to zero incident and accident effect. We are doing everything possible with our business partners to make it safe for their people and for our people, for our facilities. And we are implementing the best practices from the industry just to have every one of us to go every day safe. We know business is very important, we know production is even more important, but we are putting this safety of people and safety of our facilities top priority. That's why we take this kind of effort to get together and just think and hold ourselves accountable to really raise awareness, change the mindsets of our workforce, to really let them go every day safe. We don't want to see really small or big incidents or accidents. We know they are harmful, and I personally don't want to see a droplet of blood in jail. Many times I say jail is not a battlefield. I don't want to hear that somebody lose a finger or a wrist broken or smashed thumb or whatever. If we just be more careful and really we carry on with our responsibility as a leader. Most of you in this room are leaders and responsible and accountable to conduct business in a safe manner. So we will start with just our history and performance of JO in 2014 and before that even. And really congratulations to all. These limits been achieved by the efforts of everyone in this room. If we don't all cooperate and work and follow procedures, these numbers will not be achieved. And you can see historically, GO did a great job in terms of all these three matrices. And we have a trending, lowering, the incidence rates dramatically. And well done, really. However, at the end of the day, these are not just numbers. These are people we are talking about here. So unless we reach zero, none of us will be satisfied. And none of us also will be part of these numbers. Because each one of us has a family and many people behind them waiting for them. And they don't want to be in these numbers whatsoever. Joint operation, of course, is a new joint operation, and we are reaching really records number in terms of man hour. In 2014, 20 million man hours in the work for JO, and you can see we drove more than 30 million kilometers. 30 million kilometers. That means if like someone is circulating the globe around the equator for 750 times. That's a lot of kilometers driven. We had a total of 28 injuries, including first aid, and we had a total of 10 motor vehicle crashes, including live ones as well, and we had 32 near misses reported for the 14. And the alarming really is like 6 of these are very potential level 3 incidents. That means they were really, they could lead to severe injuries and fatalities. And this is the alarm. If this trend continue, our people are saying these could lead to serious injuries and fatality, and this is what we don't want. Samples of what we have in MCT crashes in 2014, unfortunately. Contractor minivan rollover in June 2014, 6 passengers was the driver, that job-related NPC. And the employee pickup truck rollover in January 2015, commute, non-job-related NPC. And these incidents just tell us they were few inches from fatality. And this is what we don't want to see in Shawam anymore. It's unfortunate that incident and accidents still happening. However, we can do better in increasing the awareness and getting rid of these type of incidents. Another example was, this is just an example for stop work authority and how critical it is to preventing fatality. And we had in direct mast at one of our workover rigs collapse due to high wind. But luckily, like 60 minutes before the collapse, our rig supervisor took a decision to use his stop work authority, and he evacuated the rig. So imagine if this stop work authority was not used in this rig, we could have lost maybe 20 to 30 people in a second. So this shows us how important it is to comply and apply the rules as much as we can in continuous basis. I'm not saying daily, but we need to do it like hourly, every minute, every second. Because incident and accident happen in a fraction of a second. In conclusion, really we do root cause analysis for every incident and accident in JO. And the root causes really, these are what I call man-made root causes, basically. Not following procedure, safer practice. People still tend to do shortcuts, do it fast, do it quickly, supervisor is not there, boss is not there, and they end up hurting themselves. And that's very simple to avoid. Not utilizing job safety analysis or just look at GSA, basically title and date, and that's it, and that will not do the job. And this can be also improved as well. Training and competency. Bringing a newcomer or maybe temporary worker, put them in a place to work, say, see you. 2 hours later, you hear that this guy hurt himself. And the responsibility and accountability of such accidents lie on us as leaders. We need to make sure that everybody in jail is well trained. Human performance and adequate design also are the root causes. But really, we can learn from this and really proactively identify the hazard and avoid them. These kind of culture, it's basically, it requires like culture change or mindset. We need to do a better job in educating ourselves and our people that safety is there, system is there for their own benefit. There is nothing stronger than stop work authority in jail, where we say we can sacrifice any business, even we can sacrifice production just for safety. And this power has been given to everybody in jail by the general manager. So it's really, it's up to us to be more careful to save the people and facilities as well. Hazard reporting and stop work authority exercise, their increasing trend is very positive, and this is a very good sign that shows that our safety culture in jail is evolving in the right direction, and reporting hazards and exercising stop work authority. But it's really, at the end, our goal is zero, and we all committed to zero incident rates and accidents. And we need to work hard to reach that zero, because zero means saving lives and people. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's now turn to listen to the KGOC perspective on the forum theme. Unfortunately, Mr. Ali Al-Shamari has not arrived yet, I think, right? Dr. Askey, I would like to invite Dr. Askey to the stage on behalf of Mr. Ali Al-Shamari. He will share the KGOC perspective.
Good morning, everybody. And today is my very proud of day today, because I'm attending this safety conferences together with the partners the 10th time. And I think that while looking at the records that we have, one of the leading indicators is like a 2,200 reporting is done. This is an excellent leading indicator that as a result that so many incidents are eliminated by doing the homework in a timely manner. It's very, very important. And this is showing the culture and contribution from the all participants actually. We have about 1,000 visits, safety visits actually, from KGOC, SAC, K companies, Chevron, and all these people, 1,000 visits makes a tremendous difference. And this is part of developing the culture in jail for the safety. And as a result, for the last, I think, 3 years, correct me if I'm wrong, that we are the lowest in Gulf and in the world for lost time injury. And this year, as the 5th lowest number of lost time incidents at Wafra. this is tremendous contribution by all participants and excellent result actually. And of course, is this enough? No. As Humol indicated very well, that our target is achieve 0. How many of you believe 0 is possible? Can you raise your hand, please? Excellent. If we are believing in the 0 is possible, then there's a way to achieve it. And I'm very confident that we are in the right direction, and this is not one person or one company contribution, but all participants' contributions. And what happens is that these are the good signs, good things. Why the safety is important? Because within the last same 5 years, we lost 2 persons. Now, maybe most of us don't remember those people are, but think about the family of those people. Do they ever forget this? Never. It's going to be permanently, it will stay with them. So our moral ethic, whatever the beliefs you have, is make sure every person comes safe and goes safe, and we all have to support this one, do our best to achieve this one. And again, for the KGOC, on behalf of KGOC, I will say that our company is committed for the safety of JO, and we'll do our best to achieve this one and achieve the 0, and hopefully in one of the future ones, we'll be all celebrating the 0 incident in JO. Thank you very much.
I would like to invite Mr. Ahmed Al-Umar, Saudi Arabian Chevron President, to share his vision and perspective on the forum topic.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you all to the 10th Annual Contract Environment, Health and Safety Forum. I would like to congratulate the entire workforce, especially the company and business partner leader at Water Joint Operations, for consistent improvement in environment, health, safety, performance, and achieving more than 12 million working force hours without a day away from work injury last year. I thank each and every one of you for your commitment and outstanding contributions to the achievements. Preventing serious injury and fatalities, committed to 0, is an outstanding theme for this forum. At Chevron, we strongly believe in 0 injury is attainable. Protecting people and the environment is one of our core values at Chevron. Chevron 2015 Operational Excellence Campaign, I'm committed to always, is a focus on preventing serious injury and fatalities. I do support the theme and objectives of this forum to share the experience, technological advancement, and innovative approach to instill operation discipline performance every task the right way every time. Personally, I believe that every process leadership quality that can help preventing injury and process upset incidents, align goals, and building partnership. Chevron frontline field supervisor engagement and we lead programs explain the critical expectation for leaders and what it looks like at all levels of the company. Leadership accountability is critical to operating with excellence, and we devote considerable resources to developing and encouraging it's among our entire workforce. Process safety and personnel safety, including motor vehicle safety, remain a challenge for us. We have achieved significant improvement in driving behavior of our employees since we launched defensive driving training and sharing driving score reports for the driven improvement devices installed in the company vehicles. I urge you all to increase your effort and continue focus in motor vehicle safety and competency development for our workforce. I appreciate your efforts in investigating and reporting incidents, including near misses last year. Reporting and investigation of all incidents is important so that the lesson learned from investigation can be leveraged to prevent future incidents. I challenge you all here to improve near misses reporting as these events provide us the opportunity to learn and continuously improve our safety performance. We all know that process safety events may result in serious incidents adversely affecting workforce, assets, and inhabitants. Management of process safety began at the design phase and is a critical aspect of operations and maintenance. New challenges in process and personal safety and environmental protection require continual improvement in our initiative and performance. Chevron's experience and technology enable us to overcome challenges and deliver value. Contractors form more than 85% of our workforce with diverse backgrounds and languages. We deeply believe in a one-team approach. The company and its contracting companies work together to achieve common health environment, protection, and safety goals. We have developed and maintained close partnership with our business partners through a comprehensive contract EHS management system, including ongoing and open safety meetings, regular forums, and extensive training programs. I hope and indeed I am confident that the deliberation here today will contribute to improving our health, environment, and safety performance. I urge you all today to take away one or two new safety learning that you will adopt and apply as you return to work. I urge you to perform with excellence the three phases of our work: pre-task planning, task execution, and post-task. Learning continue to follow the tenets of operations. Verify and validated safeguards. Recognize hazard and exercise your stop work authority when you see anything that presents an imminent safety risk and hazard. We must continue to maintain our focus on safety to ensure every employee and contractors go home safe each and every day. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I would like to invite Mr. David Payne, Vice President of Global Drilling and Completions.
Thank you very much. And thank you to the management of KGOC, Federated Chevron Joint Operations for inviting me here today. I have to tell you, I'm honored to have been asked to come and speak with this group, and I'm humbled to be here in front of all of you because you're the ones who really make things happen in the field, and your people are the ones that we're talking about today. It's not about senior leadership and management. It's really about the folks that are out there in the field every day and making a difference in our operation, and how we make sure that they don't have to pay a very severe price for us to deliver on our business. I have an opening slide here that's a little different than what you might normally expect from a guy who works in drilling. There's no drilling rig on this picture, and there's no drilling rig there for a reason, because I want to emphasize at the beginning of my remarks today why this is important. It's not because we're trying to meet corporate objectives. It's not because we're complying with rules and regulations. It really is about families. And every person that works in our operation has a family somewhere. They have people that they go home to when they leave the operation. And when they don't go home, then there are a lot of other people that are impacted that we never see when we go to our operations. So it's really important that we remember that it's really about families. And when we can convince our workforce that it's not just about being compliant, it's not just about following the rules, it's not just about doing what we ask them to do, it really is about them protecting their family, then we can be a lot more successful moving forward. I put this slide up here. This is specific to the drilling industry, but you saw some of these statistics earlier relative to the JO, and really the entire industry has been on an amazing journey around personal safety. The drilling and completions is just a small piece of that, but the oil and gas extraction industry around the world has been on a tremendous safety improvement journey over the last few decades, and frankly, it's something all of us should be very proud of. I don't have the access to statistics from outside or from all of the operations around the world, but I can tell you that in the United States, if you look at the OSHA statistics, oil and gas extraction is actually safer than retail. People have less chance of being hurt actually on a drilling rig than they do if they're working at Walmart. And that's an amazing statistic, and that's a tribute to all of you and the work that we've done over the last decade. So we've really come a long way. And I can tell you that I'm proud of where we are today. I started my journey, and I want to give you some perspective on where I am in this, because I'm about to challenge some of the paradigms and some of the things that we talk about. But I got started on this journey in 1991 on a platform in California when I was an engineer and we were running a whipstock, and the sling that was picking up the whipstock broke and it fell on a roughneck. And I ended up giving that roughneck CPR for 45 minutes on the rig floor, in the helicopter on the way to the hospital, and at the hospital when they took him away, that young man didn't make it. 23-year-old young man that died because of our operation. And it really changed my perspective on safety. And I have been on a personal mission to make sure things like that don't happen in our operations since that time. And so when I tell you now that I think we talk too much about safety, I want you to have that perspective. Safety is not an activity. Safety is an outcome. We spend a lot of time talking about safety, creating safety events and safety activities in the field, when in fact, safety is what we wish to achieve, not something that we do. What we do is work, and we have an opportunity to change the way our people think about how they do their business and get safety being part of what we do every day. We're not going to give up these statistics. Believe me, we're going to continue to get better. But my challenge to you is that there's an opportunity for us to change the way we talk. It's not about safety, it's about the work that we do, and safety is the outcome of doing that work well every day. I'm going to come back to that here in just a minute. This is a picture of the Deepwater Horizon. And this rig was 7 years without a day's away from work case. They had focused on personal safety. And personal safety is very important, but it's not the only thing that we do. And it's important to remember that we have budgets for money, but we also have budgets for time and effort. And so when we ask our people to do more than they have the time and effort to actually do, they will begin to prioritize and figure out how they're going to spend that time and effort. Because they only have a budget that can go so far. You can't extend somebody's time and effort budget by just piling more things on them and setting higher expectations. And so if we put so many expectations around personal safety that we don't have time to talk about process safety, then we begin to push certain things out of the way that are very important to us. And so one of the things that we need to do is be very careful about where we go with our safety expectations, and then we set our priorities appropriately. I'll diverge from this for just a second and talk about the airline industry. So how many of you believe that the airline industry is a safe industry? I know I do. I spend over 100,000 miles a year on an airplane, and every airplane that I've been on since I got in this role has taken off successfully and landed successfully. And the airline industries around the world have an amazing track record for safety. And they've identified what's very important to them, and that is the safety of their customers, being able to have their planes take off and land. In the United States, the total recordable incident rate for airlines is 8.0. That's over 8 times what the total recordable incident rate is for oil and gas. So you ask yourself the question, we just all decided here that the airline industry is safe. And yet, by certain measures, they're not as safe as oil and gas. But in some other measures, they're much more safe than oil and gas. If you would equate a blowout to a crashing airplane, if the airline industry had as many crashes as we have blowouts around the industry, people wouldn't be flying airplanes quite as much as they are today. And so they've set their priorities and they've decided what's important in their business, and it's important for us to have some of those conversations as well. And it's important that we retain the credibility with our workforce by really focusing on what's important. And the one thing I like to pick on the most is lids on coffee cups. So we go around, around the world, we get so fired up about lids on coffee cups, when the fact of the matter is that's not really that important. What's more important than having a lid on your coffee cup is making sure that your well-controlled equipment is all working, that your crews are trained appropriately, and that you can prevent an incident like this. With 7 years without a day's away from work, and when they got distracted and started looking at the wrong things, we ended up with 11 fatalities. Deepwater business in the Gulf of Mexico shut down for nearly a year, one of the largest environmental incidents that the industry's ever created. Because we weren't focused on the right things. We have to focus on some things beyond just personal safety. And this didn't come cheap to BP. The cost of these incidents are severe to our industry. This is a chart of BP's market capitalization versus Chevron's market capitalization. I could have substituted any other major oil company besides Chevron here, and the trend would be the same. But in the period since Texas City, which was the beginning of BP's real challenges around process safety, their market capitalization has continued to fall, while the rest of the industry has seen growth in market capitalization. And if you estimate the cost of a condo just based on the changes in market capitalization, the cost of that single incident to BP is somewhere in the range of $140 billion. Would it be $140 billion? So not only are we protecting people, but we're also protecting our business. And so it is really good business to make sure that we are focusing on in the process safety space like we need to be. We have a lot of safeguards in place. We have a lot of processes in place, and I'll stand here today and tell you that we don't need any more processes. We don't need any more initiatives. What we need to do is be able to ensure that the processes that we have in place, that the safeguards we have in place are working. And this is John Watson, he's the CEO of Chevron, and he has asked Chevron employees to move from I think to I know. And that's really a critical piece of business for us as an industry, because we have a lot of safeguards in place, but we have to know that those safeguards are working. And I'll give you an example. We had an incident recently in one of our operations where we dropped a joint casing because somebody picked up the wrong size elevator. So we've been having this problem off and on for a very long time. And about 4 years ago, after averaging a drops about every 6 months due to wrong size elevators, I asked my people to find a way to make that stop. And we put a process in place for elevator changeouts that has very effectively eliminated drop casing in our operations, drop drill pipe, and we now get the right elevators in place. These guys were picking up, they were using pickup elevators, and so they were using the process, but they were only using the process in the well center, and so they weren't using the process with the pickup elevator. The problem was not that we didn't have a process, the problem was that we didn't know that we were using the process every time in the right way. And so moving from I think to I know is absolutely critical. It's about going out and identifying the areas where we absolutely want to be sure that we're doing things the right way every time. And it can't be everything. I'll go back to the airline industry. If the airline industry's put as much focus on the baggage handlers as they do on the pilots and mechanics, it would be very difficult for them to get it all right. You cannot be a high reliability organization in every part of your business. You need to be a high reliability organization in the places that really matter. And so deciding where you want to validate, where you want to verify the controls are in place is really critically important. And if you look at the businesses around the world that are high reliability organizations, the commercial airline industry, nuclear power, they focus on what's absolutely critical, and they make sure they get that right every time. And this is, I want to step back to my comment about we talk too much about safety. Because as we make this move toward a high reliability organization, it's moving away from talking about safety as an activity and getting to safety as an outcome. And the challenge that I've put to my organization is that we're not going to be a safe organization. We're going to be a perfect organization. We are going to have perfect execution. And the question is, how do you get to perfect execution? There's been a lot of pushback since we've introduced this concept that it's impossible for us to deliver perfect execution every time. And one of the biggest reasons we can't deliver perfect execution is because people aren't perfect. People make mistakes. And it's very simple that people make mistakes. It's not going to change. We are basically a hunter-gatherer brains in this amazing world of technology where things change so fast. Our brains adapt over hundreds and thousands of years, and technology adapts sometimes it seems like in hours and minutes. And so our ability to adapt to all that is very difficult, and yet people make mistakes. But I'm asking for perfect execution. So the challenge is how do we do that? Because we tend to hold people accountable when they make mistakes. And I'll use a personal example of what I'm talking about. I have a SUV that I drive to work every day. My standard routine is to step into my garage, open the back of the SUV. It's got one of those cool little power wheels that lifts up by itself. Put my briefcase in the back of the car, push the little red button on the top, the lid goes down, back out of the garage, and off to work. Right? So one day I come out of my garage, open up the back of the SUV, put my briefcase in there, got in the car, backed out of the garage. And what step did I miss? I forgot to push the button. Right? Back the SUV lid hit the garage door. Did a little damage to the SUV. Did a little damage to the garage door. So if I did that at work, what would have been the outcome? The outcome would have been a significant investigation, probably some punitive actions to me, right? Because that's, how could you be so stupid? Why would you do that, right? And so we're going to hold you accountable. Perhaps I go to retraining, right? So I get to go to a half a day of training on making sure you push the button before you back out of the garage. So that's just a mistake, and we make mistakes all the time. The way we get the perfect execution is we recognize human behavior. And we recognize the fact that people make mistakes, and we have to design and build a resilient system. And the systems are resilient to human error. Without that resiliency in the system, we can't be successful. If you look at what the airline industry has done, one of the biggest opportunities and one of the biggest step changes that the civilian airline industry did was work on how captains react to each other in the cockpit. There have been so many airline crashes in history caused by a single person making bad decisions without forceful backup. And so working on how the crew interacts with each other and how they provide that forceful backup has had a dramatic change in the crash rate in the domestic airline industry. And in fact, you can take it so far as to look at in South Korea, Korean Airlines was having a higher than normal incident rate with airline crashes, with near misses and that sort of thing. And when they investigated it holistically to try to understand what was going on, it was very cultural. In the Korean culture, there's very significant hierarchy. It's very difficult for lower level people to challenge their seniors. And so there were numerous incidents where a senior pilot would make a bad decision and the junior pilot would simply let it happen. By changing that culture, by allowing our people to challenge, and by putting systems in place to protect us from human error, we can get perfect execution. Because perfect execution doesn't mean that we do everything exactly right every time. What it means is that we get a predictable outcome. And a predictable outcome done well is an outcome that protects people. And we don't get personal injuries, and we don't have process safety failure. And so focusing on perfect execution raises the bar on our expectations and allows us, when we do slip, not to fall down into the injury range. When we set the bar just on safe operations, we don't set the bar nearly high enough. So the challenge I would put to you is to start having conversations with your folks in the field about how we deliver perfect execution. And what that looks like is having written procedures, and written procedures that are written for and sometimes by the people that have to use it. Very often we have procedures that are written in an office somewhere by somebody who's never actually going to go to the field to execute that procedure. We send the procedure to the field, we set an expectation that the crew's going to follow that procedure, and then they don't follow the procedure because they can't, or they don't understand it, or it's too complicated, and then we hold them accountable because they haven't used the tool, it wasn't the right tool for the job. We got to get the procedures right. We have to provide checklists. We need to really get to a checklist culture for routine operations. We have two private jets that fly for Chevron in North America, and they have a milk run that they do every day except for Sunday. 6 days a week, they fly from Houston to Midland, Texas, from Midland, Texas to Farmington, New Mexico, Farmington, New Mexico to Grand Junction, Colorado, Grand Junction, Colorado to Wyoming, and then they do that going back the other way. They do that every day. That's a routine operation. So those pilots are extremely practiced at what they do. It's the same two pilots in each plane that fly every day, and every day when they get in the plane, they pull out a checklist. And they go through a checklist to make sure that everything is correct before that plane takes off. Why do they do that? Because if they don't do it and they make a mistake, people die. It's no different than our operation. But if we're going to trip pipe on a drilling rig, that's a routine operation. We don't have a checklist. We don't have a procedure for that. Like, we're tripping pipe, let's go. Right? And so we go out and we begin our operations, and we haven't gone through some things to make sure that we have everything where it needs to be. And unfortunately, when things go wrong, even in a routine operation on a drilling rig, you can have the same outcome as when things go wrong on that private jet. So there's an opportunity for us to do some things that aren't going to slow down our operations at all, and in fact will make our performance better. And in this current oil price environment, that's actually a benefit. So there's an opportunity for us to achieve goals on both sides of the business, like a real opportunity for us going forward. So I want to give you an example of one of the process that Chevron has taken on board to go from I think to I know. And this whole exercise started after Macondo. In fact, after Macondo, we had taken my leadership team and had a conversation with Continental Airlines before they got bought by United, because we wanted to understand what they were doing to ensure that they had 100% safety with their airplanes, and how we could apply that to drilling rigs and well control. Made a presentation to our board of directors and told them what we were doing, and there's a guy on the board of directors named Kevin Sherritt, who's actually retiring this year, but he's an ex-submariner, U.S. Navy. And he said, "You're talking to the wrong people. You need to go talk to the Navy." So we did. We went and talked to the U.S. Navy submariners about what they do, and they have a program called SubSafe. And SubSafe was created back in the early 60s. In 1963, they lost the Thresher, the USS Thresher. The brand new submarine was in sea trials, and when they took it out, there's a complicated explanation of what happened, but that submarine sank during sea trials, killing everyone on board. And the U.S. Navy said, we cannot afford to do that again. So they created a program called SubSafe. SubSafe has some unique attributes. One is it's very narrow focus. The only focus of the SubSafe program is to maintain the integrity of the hull and to have the ability to recover for the loss of integrity of the hull. That's it. They don't worry about the nuclear power system in the back of the boat. They don't worry about steering. They don't worry about any of the other things. There's a lot of other important bits that you need to have under control in a submarine, but SubSafe doesn't address that. And SubSafe was a certification system that was required of every nuclear submarine in the U.S. Navy. And they required objective quality evidence that all of the requirements of SubSafe were met before you could achieve certification. And this program has been very successful. It's been studied by multiple business schools. Since SubSafe was implemented, there has not been a single loss of a U.S. submarine because of a flooding incident. It's over 40, 50 years now. And so it's been extremely successful. No SubSafe certified submarine has been lost at sea. We've had plenty of accidents. There's a picture up here. This is the USS San Francisco. It ran into a subsea mound at flank speed, which is basically as fast as the boat can go. Nobody in the Navy will tell me how fast that is. Apparently that's classified. What you see there is there's a lot of damage to the front of the boat. They had 2 fatalities and about 25 serious injuries. But that picture is taken in dry dock, which means that submarine, although it was a total loss, made it back to port and recovered the crew because the SubSafe system worked. So we looked at SubSafe and said, well, we need to do something like that for well control. Because the single biggest thing that we can do to create damage to our reputation, to potentially kill people, and to damage the environment is lose control of one of our wells. And so we created WellSafe, which is a program that we believe will guarantee that we don't have a loss of containment from a well anywhere in Chevron's operation. And we've been working on this process for quite some time. We're focused on well control. You know, it's interesting. We've had a lot of folks come in and go, you know, let's add something else to the program. In fact, the elevator changeout log that I talked about earlier, there was a request to put that into SubSafe or into WellSafe, and we said, no, we're not going to put it in WellSafe because it has nothing to do with well control. Doesn't mean it's not important, but it has nothing to do with well control, so it's not going in there. So WellSafe is focused strictly on well control, and it's underlined by all of the standards that Chevron has for how we operate our drilling and completion business. So WellSafe identifies the critical issues inside of our other standards that apply to well control and provides a framework that we can assure that those requirements are met on every single well. Every requirement is required to have objective quality evidence that action has been taken. And we have an independent WellSafe examiner in every business unit that will verify that evidence is in place and that the actions have been taken and that they meet those WellSafe requirements. The WellSafe examiners report independent of the business unit, so the business unit can't manipulate how they evaluate. The business needs can't change the way that WellSafe examiner looks at things, and they don't have to worry about getting a bad performance appraisal because they wouldn't let a rig go to work because they haven't met the requirements. There are 3 pillars for the certification. One is actually I should say before I get to the pillars, there's the business unit certification. So to even start, the business unit has to have certain standard operating procedures in place that allow them to implement WellSafe and to make sure that they have all of the controls in place, the processes in place to safely execute their wells. Then every well plan is certified individually. We don't necessarily do it one well at a time. If we have wells that are very similar, we'll do packages of wells, but each well design has to be reviewed by the well safety examiner to make sure that it meets the expectations. Rigs are also certified. A big component of rig certification is crew competency, and we've developed some really good tools for helping to build crew competency. We recognize that we work with multiple contractors around the world, and no matter how big our business is, we're not a big enough percentage of any rig contractor's business to ask them to change what they do across their entire fleet. So we've designed this system to allow us to do it at the rig for the rigs that work for Chevron. And we're actually using this crew competency development already, even though we're still working through the implementation of this, and it's been very effective. We had an incident in Bangladesh earlier, or late last year. In Bangladesh, the nature of the drilling, we hadn't taken a kick over there. It's probably 8 years, maybe 10 years since the last time they had actually seen a well control incident. And they started implementing the crew competency training anyway, just to ensure that they were prepared. And we got up to an exploration well, and they took a kick, got a big surprise, and they were actually able to contain the influx of less than 10 barrels. Handled it very well. Would not have been able to do that had we not gone through this crew competency work. And then finally, there's certification during execution. It doesn't do any good to have a really good plan if you don't execute to the plan. So the well safety examiner is required to monitor the well progress and ensure that they meet the expectations. When we're fully implemented, every well that's drilled at Chevron will be well safe certified, but it won't proceed. And we have a significant process in place to manage the change and for things that happen as we get to the drilling so we can manage it. This will go a long way for moving us from I think to I know. And when BP thought they had a good program in place, they found out they did not. We can't afford, none of us can afford to be in a situation where we think we have the controls in place to protect us from process safety incidents or fatalities, major incidents, and find out that we don't have those in place. So validation, verification, setting up systems around what's important is really critical to our success. And with that, I'm going to close by just challenging you to really talk to your people about what's important, what are your priorities, right? Is it lids on coffee cups, or is it preventing that next fatality? Are you really having the right conversations with your folks? The other challenge I would have is to have a conversation about perfect execution. And I just got back down here from Aberdeen. I flew in from Aberdeen last night. And in 2 days in Aberdeen, I heard perfect execution about 50 times. They are really focusing on that perfect execution piece. And they're taking it to a point where their conversations are about the work first, and how safety fits into the work. I have a business unit in Pennsylvania that has really turned the whole morning meeting JSA thing on its head. And I'll challenge you to go out to the field, sit in on your JSA, right, and find out if the JSA, are they actually talking about the job, or are they just identifying hazards? One of our problems with JSAs is they become a safety activity. So a JSA will sit in the meeting and we'll talk about pinch points and overhead loads and that sort of thing. What are the hazards? We identify the hazards, we have that conversation, and then we're done with that, tick the box, we finished our safety activity, now we go to work. Very rarely do we actually have a conversation about who's going to do what. Do we have a procedure? Kind of walk through the procedure. This is who's going to just, you're going to be on the lead column, you're going to be on the backups, you're going to stand here, what are our tools that we need to have in place? We can have that conversation first and then talk about the hazards. It's a very different business. Our Marcellus Shale operation has done just that. They've changed their conversations. They don't talk about safety first in their morning meetings anymore. They talk about the work that they're about to do first. And then they apply their safety work to that work so that those two are disconnected. And how often have you been in meetings where the conversation about safety somehow is disconnected from the work that you're about to do, right? Safety moment this morning was perfect, right? Because what's the safety issue that applies to you today? If we have to evacuate the building, that's what matters to us today. So we had a conversation that was short, very brief, but it identified what you needed to know. That's what we need to be doing in the field, is making sure that our people are understanding the work that they have to do, trying to figure out how to deliver on that perfectly, and then have that safety conversation and the hazards conversation after they understand the work. With that, I'll thank you very much for allowing me to stand up here and kind of challenge your thinking. I'm looking forward to participating the rest of the day. I have to say I was very impressed with the poster session outside. You guys obviously put a lot of work into that, and I'm going to go out to the field tomorrow to have a look at what the real world looks like, not just the posters. So again, thank you very much for your time, and thank you for inviting me today.
Thank you very much, David. I would like to welcome Mr. Ali Al-Shamari, CEO with our company. He will share his brief perspective, I guess, on the forward team. Please.
Well, good morning, everybody. It's really a great pleasure and honor for me to be part of this forum. First of all, I would like to apologize for being late. And the reason for that is maybe you will ask Mr. Ahmed later on why. Second, I don't have a speech written, so the one I wrote it, Dr. Oskay, he stole it from me this morning, so good luck. I really very much happy to have such a great people today together under one roof discussing the same. It's really, this is a very, very good signal that everybody, NGO, SAC, KGOC, joint operations, everybody is committed. And that's really something I am very much proud of. And the term professional that give me back again, I will start my speech just with some joke regarding professional. I don't want that professional which is I'm going to reflect it in my joke, so please take it the way around. They've been talking about American guy visiting Cairo. And he's been in one taxi. Maybe I said this several times, but he went with a taxi driver, and the guy is not wearing the safety belt, and he did nothing for the safety. And he moved. He said, "Please take care." He said, "Okay. You are with a professional driver." I said, "Let us see." So he went to the first signal, and he crossed the red light. I said, "What is this? This is not the agreement." He said, "I might tell you that I am professional." He said, "Please, second time, don't do it." So he went to the second light and he crossed it while it was red again. And he said, "You are not a good listener. I have to quit. I don't want to continue." He said, "Please, just be patient. I will do whatever you want." Third signal was green and he stopped. And he said, "Why you stop?" He said, "Because there is another professional." So that was that kind of professional in my view. So good luck everybody. I had a couple of signals I would like to, I'm sure that you've been hearing from Mr. Ahmed and Hamoud. Thank you also for his team for preparing such a great forum. I wish that I thank him in the beginning. Ahmed always committed for this, even my DCOs, we are on other tasks, so apologize if I'm able to come, but believe me, everybody is committed. Thank you very much for it. I'm sure that you've been listening to so many great statements being said this morning because of the the experts you've been invited for such forums. However, a good statement has been said that safety is not activity, it's a result. And this is the key element. Yes, it is a result. And let me share with you that 2014 in the oil sector of Kuwait, it's the bad year cross because of the fatalities. We do have fatalities in the oil sector. We are in one equation. Doesn't mean that they are doing bad, but this is also safety issue. We are doing great, but other oil sector didn't do. We have to get a good lesson, learn from that. So I think there is a room to take that. Thanks God we didn't do any bad things in 2014, but doesn't mean that we are not exposed to do that, because operation equal problems, so we have to be careful. I will leave you with some of the things which maybe in fast more track I would say is the zero incident. Zero incident is achievable, yes. Focus on investigation and lesson learned, this is our responsibility. Please report the near miss, and also we should also safeguard our people, safeguard the security. It's very important to focus on that. It's a big element in our equation. And motor vehicle, definitely this is something everybody should be professional really enough in that. So with that, I think I will leave you with the things which I am committed, my people committed, KGOC committed to the safety, to the theme of this forum. Also, and a matter of fact, KGOC just now they create HSE CEO award, and we are inviting to everybody to be awarded, and it will be a valuable present for the people who did well. With that, I will wish you a very good luck day today, and hopefully we will come up with the results. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Mr. Kamal, please don't leave the stage yet. Just for 1 minute. I would like to invite the leadership speakers from this morning presentation to the stage. We have little appreciation plaques for you. Thank you very much. Very strong messages, very strong commitment. Okay. We're still gonna have a coffee break now, but it will be way shorter than we were planning. We will resume at 10:30. It's 10:15 right now, so it's 15-minute break. At 10:30, we will resume our conference. The posters are still available. Please take your time, take a look. There's been a lot of work put in that poster development section. Okay, let's resume our conference. I appreciate everybody coming back and taking their seats. It's now turn for the Contractor best practice sharing, and today we're very pleased to have Mr. Ziad Jaha. He is the geo-market manager for Schlumberger Kuwait Oilfield Services, Schlumberger Oilfield Services Kuwait. So, Mr. Ziad, I would like to invite you to the stage.
Assalamu alaikum. Distinguished guests, friends and colleagues, Assalamu alaikum and good morning. It is a great pleasure for me to be here today. On behalf of the entire Schlumberger team, I would like to thank Joint Operations for inviting Schlumberger to be part of this forum. Since the theme of this meeting is committed to zero fatality, I decided to share with you in this theme a journey for Schlumberger, which took 5 years, which I'll present in 10 minutes. Eyes on our journey is the title, as you can see. I will share with you a success story of how Schlumberger managed to drastically reduce our automotive accidents. Driving is one of the highest risk activity in Schlumberger as well as in the oil industry. Historically, a high number of catastrophic and multi-catastrophic accidents were reported. In 2001, Schlumberger decided to take a firm control and allocate all required resources to manage and reduce driving accident rates through several initiatives. We started through a formalized driving policy, and in 2005, we introduced a new driving monitoring device to track down in detail our drivers' performance, combined with the journey management system. Since then, and until 2010, our driving performance improved dramatically, as you can see on the slide. We reached a flat positive trend in our automotive accident rate. However, we believe that there is still room for improvement. Our analysis indicated that compliance was a key factor to further reduce the automotive accident rate. This was the time, 2010, where we introduced a new concept of fleet management through a remote regional journey management center, and this was our step change. "15 local journey management offices across the Middle East were consolidated in a state-of-the-art call center in Asia. This center manages more than 14,000 drivers, 8,000 vehicles driving over 13 million kilometers a month. The center is remotely managing all the trips through various communication means, such as mobile phone, SMSs, and email. Pre-trip checklist is enforced prior to each journey, and every vehicle is remotely tracked real-time GPS. The Regional Journey Management Center process is divided into 3 main steps, as you see on the slide. On your left side, the first process is the compliance checklist, which is a pre-departure process. The second process is the real-time monitoring, which happens during the trip itself. And the last process is a reward or coaching process, which comes after the trip through a driver point system. The checklist has basic questions that operator in the center prompts the driver before departure. The operator inquires the driver on basic questions such as hours slept, passengers details, condition of the road, weather conditions, while confirming the driver minimum training and certification in the database of the center. Once this trip is compliant, the driver proceeds with the journey. During the trip, the operator in the center will remotely intervene if there is any major violation, such as overspeeding, excessive deceleration or acceleration, driving continuously for more than 2 hours without rest. Within 24 hours, a driving performance report is generated for all the drivers and shared with each driver and line manager. This report will serve as a baseline for either reward or coaching sessions, and sometimes, in extreme cases, termination. So let me go a little bit in more detail about the driving point system. As you see on the slide, the summary driving point system is basically the platform of the driving performance report, which is generated regularly on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. It is simply a quantitative approach to evaluate our driver's behavior. In this driving point system, every driver has a credit of 12 points. The driver will lose points depending on the evaluation, as shown on the graph. There are 8 pillars in this system reflecting each violation and its respective point deduction. Let me expand a little bit and give you a couple of examples of these pillars. The first one on your left is an example when a driver uses another driver's video, which is the key for the driving monitor. If he does that, he will automatically lose 12 points and serious actions are taken. Another example is if a driver loses 6 points if he is flagged in red in the RAG monthly report. And the third example is of a driver going outside the fence without doing any management. He will automatically lose 4 points, and so on and so forth. So let's talk about Kuwait statistics and numbers. The slide shows the result of Kuwait's driving point system. As you can see, in 2014, Kuwait has achieved 236 lost points compared to an average of 257 lost points in the Middle East. To give you a sense of the flavor, Schlumberger drivers working for joint operations made over 5 million kilometers in 2014. As displayed in the graph, the increase in kilometers driven is attributed to the 3D unique seismic crew for joint operation exploration team. This crew is operating 24 hours a day, covering the whole PZ area. The vehicle fleet of this seismic crew comprises of 115 vehicles. As an average, this crew makes 330,000 kilometers a month. In other words, and compared to Mr. Hamoud's relation, this crew basically travels the Earth's circumference every 3 days. I'm glad to share with you that the figure is without any single serious accident. Schlumberger has been ranked among the best 3 countries in the region. Such achievements are being well organized and recognized, acknowledged by Schlumberger and our clients. So the next slide is showing you our reward for one of the best drivers here in Kuwait, where he was awarded in a special event from Schlumberger by myself and my team, the HR manager and the safety manager. So let's go back and see where is this step change. Several proactive key performance indicators have been continuously improving over the last 3 years. Since the deployment of the Regional Journey Management Center, Schlumberger has managed to reduce overspeeding incidents by 90%. Similarly, fatigue management was well controlled within only 3% violations. This has resulted in a step change by reducing the automated accident rate, CMS and CMSL, by 50%. As a result of this success story in automated accident reduction, it was obvious to quickly extend this model and adopt it globally. Today, Schlumberger have 5 centers across the world, located in India, Colombia, Malaysia, Egypt, and Bulgaria, covering 60 different countries, communicating in 15 different languages. These centers manage around 5,200 trips daily, 50,000 plus drivers, and 2,000 plus vehicles, covering more than 50 million kilometers a month. Finally, I want to share with you the overall reduction of the automated accident rate in Schlumberger post the deployment of these global centers. The step change has truly made it. Looking at the slide, since we introduced the global centers in 2010, the automated accident rate was reduced by over 70% within a period of 5 years. So after all this success, we ask ourselves the questions: do we stop? Do we relax? Do we stand still? Are we satisfied with this? Have we achieved what we wanted? I guess the simple answer is no, as we have seen in the previous presentations, that there is always room for improvement to reach perfection. So the challenge right now is to find out what will be our next step. I will not answer you at this podium, but I will leave it as a point of discussion during this forum. To conclude, we will remain committed to our clients, to you, to our business partners, to continue the journey towards a crash-free driving environment, zero fatalities, to our unique and highly collaborative spirit. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Zeha. Please don't leave the stage. We have also a little appreciation plaque for you. Thank you very much for doing this for us today. Thank you very much. Driving is a challenge for everyone, and Schlumberger's Horizon Journey system is extremely state-of-the-art system that really helps them manage the non-routine and routine journeys within the company. Thank you very much. It's now time to have our panel discussion with selected GO leaders. However, before we go into the panel discussion and invite our panel members to the stage, I would like to introduce Mr. Robert Bowman, our Shears advisor. He will briefly talk about the concept of serious injury and fatality prevention, and he will try to explain everyone what it is about. At the meantime, I would like to request everyone everyone should have a little question form in their packages that we gave out this morning. So in case, throughout the course of Robert's presentation, in case you have any questions that you would like to ask the panel leaders, please write them down. We'll have our people collecting these questions from you when the panel discussion starts. Robert,
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I just have a couple of brief slides that I will share with you, and then I'll stop talking and presenting, and we'll invite the panel members to come up. So let me proceed with a couple of slides. My purpose is to sort of reinforce with you the theme for our conference today, which is preventing serious injuries and fatalities. And so, a little more sensitive too. So we've been on a journey over the past 10 years. Dr. Oskay mentioned that observations he had of our journey over the last 10 years since we've been doing this Chesum Forum. But as you look at our data, actually this is more than 10 years, but you'll see we've got a nice trend down. This is the OGP performance data. This is worldwide for oil and gas producers. If you look at this, there's an interesting phenomenon that's occurring right here. You see the total recordables and the lost time rates continue to go down, which is very impressive. But this one right here, this fatality rate, that's FAR's fatal accident rate, notice that one's maintaining a steady level plateau. And so the phenomenon is that we're reducing the bottom parts of the pyramid, the first stage, the lesser incidents, but we're still having fatalities. And so that's one of the big focuses that we in jail management wanted to put on this forum, how to prevent these fatalities. We put also some Chevron data, just as another point of comparison. You can see that those Chevrons, total recordable and day away from work cases rates are going down nice and smooth, pretty steady. Look at the fatal accidents, how that's bouncing up and down. And we've had some bad years in Chevron with fatal accidents that we're working to correct and change. So our focus today is to focus on those high-risk activities that will prevent fatal accidents from occurring. So what happened is if you look at our accident trends and history, not just us in JO, but the industry in general, you'll find that most of these fatal accidents are occurring in these types of activities. Now, some of you who are familiar with our Preventing Serious Injuries and Fatalities booklet will notice that those activities are each a chapter in this little book, a set of checklists and questions for people to use when they go in the field. So these, ladies and gentlemen, are what kill people. And in your hand, in your registration package, you should have one of these little booklets. They've been distributed before in Walker. We're making an attempt to make sure people remember this, understand it, and know what the purpose of this booklet is. This is something you take in the field with you to review these types of activities when you're in the field. And these should be integrated into JSAs and tailgate meetings and any other type of meeting in which you engage as a leader to try and raise safety awareness amongst people. So these are the activities that kill people. So this is an interesting slide here. It's a little busier than I like, but I wanted you to see that there's an interesting trend that I referred to a moment ago, and that is that even though we've seen a reduction in the lesser incidents, we're still killing people. So this data down here below shows the number of lost time incidents that occur per fatality in these types of events right here. Okay? And so, in other words, for a fire and explosion, for every fire and explosion event that you have, you'll have 12 lost time incidents for every one fatality that occurs. So the ratio is 12 to 1, basically, for a fire and explosion. So fire explosions are therefore on the more dangerous side of the spectrum. That's intuitively logical. It makes sense. As you look across here, you see things like transportation, motor vehicle accidents, assaults and violent acts, which are kind of hard to control here, falling, working at heights, basically, exposure to harmful substances. And then, so those are the more dangerous activities that correspond to these categories here. So as you look at this slide, You get over here, this is kind of what Dave Payne was talking about earlier. These are like the lids on your coffee cup type things. The things that are of lesser significance. But it takes 14,033 overexertion incidents before you're going to have a fatality. So as you look at scarce resources and where you want to focus your efforts, obviously you want to focus on where you get the most impact, which is with these higher risk activities. So that's kind of the purpose of this slide, is it actually aligns nicely with Mr. Payne's point, which is we need to focus our efforts where we will get the most impact, most bang for our buck, if you will. So with that in mind, there's a couple of key things that we need to do. We need to know which tasks are those tasks which can most likely to lead to fatal accidents. Those are tasks, again, that are referenced in this booklet that you have in front of you. And we need to make, Dave also said we have enough processes. I agree with him. I think we need to make use of the existing processes that we have. We don't need to create new ones. Some of you may be aware we have developed a SHEERS management system, Safety, Health, Environment, Efficiency, and Reliability, and Security is what SHEERS stands for. This is a WAFRA, unique environmental and safety management system that combines the best of Chevron and the best of KGOC together. So we will be using our SHEERS process going forward to make sure we help prevent fatal accidents. And so providing proper oversight. Some of the slides that Hamoud showed earlier showed about the causes for accidents. This not having adequate oversight of the work. Supervisor not on the job. The job occurs in the middle of the night or on the weekend. That's where we hurt people. And then we're also we want people to follow the tenets of operations. And then lastly, do it safely or do it not at all. So with that, I understand you're thinking lunch. You notice that. It wasn't on purpose. I didn't show that. So what we'll do now is, if we can have the crew come forward, we're going to move these tables over here. We'll shut off the slide projector, and if I can invite the panel members to come up, I will introduce them once they get on the stage. Well, actually, maybe I'll introduce them as they're walking. First, Mr. Hamoud Al-Atabi, our general manager, will be on the panel. Mr. Musaid Al-Masyad, team leader at NBC. Mr. Mubarak Al-Shamri, who is the superintendent of base business operations. Gary McNair, superintendent of drilling. And lastly, but certainly not least, Mr. Fateh Al-Atabi, manager of environmental safety, fire, health, and security. Okay, I'm going to start out with a couple of prepared questions related to fatality prevention. And Sati, this first one I'm going to direct to you. It says, how do you as a leader ensure that high-risk tasks are properly identified and that risks are mitigated before the work is performed?
Well, what you need here is really an experienced team, people that can identify the risk and say, well, that is a high risk and that is a low risk. It is very important that you identify those people that go to the facilities and identify the risk. Another thing is going and develop an mitigation plan that can eliminate or reduce the level of high risk. But I think with all of that, what is more important is going back and validating that it is reduced or it is eliminated. Again, very experienced people is needed actually to go and see the risk. So as a leader, I will make sure that the right people goes to the right place where the risk is identified and do the mitigation plan.
Okay, thank you. So Hamoud, this next question centers around stop work authority. We all recognize the importance of every worker being empowered to stop work when unsafe conditions are identified. We also know that considerable cultural barriers must be overcome in order for stop work authority to be fully effective and utilized in WAFRA. So there are two questions associated with that. Question number one, what are you doing as a leader to ensure that everyone in your organization feels that they're not only empowered to use stop work authority, but that there will also be no negative consequences to it if they do use stop work authority? Question number one. Question number two, can you give an example of where you encourage someone to use stop work authority or recognize it for doing so?
Yeah,
At the beginning of introducing stop work authority, there was a big challenge in people believing to stop and work and not being punished or blamed for their acts. But as I showed in the graphs in my presentation, you can see people are utilizing stop work authority. This is a system, and it's part of our safety culture. It's been approved by JO, it's been approved by the non-operator, KGOC and SAP, and we never punish any guy who's use stop work authority. In fact, we recognize, and we give everybody a card like this one in my hand, where you are responsible and accountable to stop any work in JO, and no one will speak with you. In fact, we usually recognize those who use it. And it is really, as we are really going from, I would say, maybe 20 years ago, we have basically no safety culture. Our safety, the only safety we know at that time was only little signs here and there, safety first, and that's about it. And we have seen people dying, we have seen people hurting themselves. In fact, maybe you guys believe it or not, 20 years ago there was no X2S monitor in jail. At that time we consider buying X2S monitors is a waste of money and there is no need. This culture has changed dramatically. Now no one is allowed to work without X2S monitor in jail. Everybody is encouraging and authorizing people to utilize the system. In fact, we are recognizing people very regularly in JO in really implementing safety and taking care of people. And that's, we are not doing this, we are doing this on behalf of the owner of the place. Kuwait Gulf Oil Company in Saudi Arabia, Chevron, say, hey, look, nothing is important except safety of people. So we are just doing our job. This is not, we are introducing anything strange. And still, I know this is still evolving. Anybody can come to me directly without any appointment if they have a trouble using this car. The good example really was the collapse of the derrick mast at one of our workover rigs. And it shows that this system is very effective in preventing fatalities. God forbid if that rig was working at the collapse time, we would lose easy 30 people dead immediately. There was, I don't know how many drilling pipes in that derrick, but it was so heavy and the pictures are so scary when they are collapsing around. What if somebody was under them? You can't imagine the catastrophe.
Okay, thank you. So, next question, Gary. I'm going to address this one to you. One of the common elements in many fatal accidents is the perception that a particular task has been performed repeatedly over a period of months, or in some cases years, or maybe someone's entire career they've done something that way, and never had any negative consequences for doing so. This sentiment of complacency is commonplace and increases the likelihood of serious incidents. What are you doing to make sure that within your scope of work within the drilling operations, the workers are not complacent, especially when they're performing high-risk tasks, or even routine for that matter?
Well, you know, in our business, in the drilling and completion side, there's repetitive tasks are massive. I mean, we do the same thing over and over every single day. And you know, it's kind of interesting. Last year, our only incident was related to a repetitive task around, you know, makeup and breakout of drill pipe. Operation performed, you know, countless times every single day. And just so happened that, you know, the root cause was that there was a line that was designed that was too long, and a guy smashed his finger. Okay. So what we're doing in our organization, right, to make sure that we're not complacent is we need to change things up. Right? We're constantly looking for different ways of examining situations. Right? So for instance, we do a lot of drills in our organization, right? Safety H2S drills, different types of well control drills. We don't do the drills the same way every time. Okay, we're trying to keep things fresh, current, so people do not get used to doing things the same way every time, right? So that they actually have to think about what they're doing. Okay, trying to get the guys in the field to think about the task that they are performing, rather than just going through the motions same way every time. Okay, and that's the most important thing right there. The other thing is providing activities for the crews to go from that think you know to I know around safeguards. You know, we have hazard hunts on a weekly basis. You know, we have we also have people go out and speak with the crews about what they're doing, what's important to them. And the final component is around leadership visibility. Okay? Getting the leaders, not only in JO, but from our business partners, to get out in the field and work with their crews to show that, you know, to ask them what's going on and what's important to you. Because if you do not demonstrate that it's important to you as well what they're doing, it doesn't work. So leadership visibility is very big in our organization.
We across all of JO did a big push the last couple of years to get leaders out and visible. So as contractors, we hope that you are doing a similar thing to get out and be visible in the workforce. I'm going to change from the pre-arranged questions to something that came from the audience. And interesting enough, a lot of these are actually very similar to some of the things we had thought about. This one, Mubarak, I'm going to address this one. You had to do a loss of containments and process safety related incidents. 2014, JO saw in 2014 saw JO develop greater awareness of loss of containment events and improved reporting of those incidents. What are the next steps in the JO process safety journey? Let me pause before you answer that. And loss of containment, for those who may not be familiar with the term, is when you have either a release of a gas or a hazardous material into the atmosphere, to the land, to the water. Basically, a process safety release. To just put it in simple terms. So, Mubarak, please.
Loss of containment is, as you said, it is one of the metrics of the process safety, and process safety is, I can't say it's a new term, but there is much emphasis now on it after the 2010 Macondo accident happened in the Gulf of Mexico. In GO, we have addressed the process safety issues for many years before. In 2007, we have addressed all our SOPs. We have done SOPs for all our facilities. Also, we have implemented the MOC process, which we have an excellent process that we are developing. And we have identified all our integrity critical equipment, and we have listed all our PSVs that we have, and we have maintained them, calibrated them. So we have done a lot of efforts. This year we will go to continuing the inspection and maintaining our critical equipment. We have a very excellent maintenance schedule. Also, we are in the process of developing SOPs, and we will train all our workforces. We will continue to train our workforce and make training and awareness about process safety and these metrics.
Good. Thank you. We're getting some really good questions coming from the audience. Thank you.
First one, I would like to thank and congratulate JO for good result for 2014 as far as safety measures. However, two activities still remain as a big challenge.
You are absolutely right, my wife. Driving is still a big challenge to us. As I showed, we drove, was it 30 million? And I said this is like equivalent to circulating the globe 750 times. So it is a big challenge. What we are doing different in 15, we are changing the video system. We are bringing in more advanced GPS type of system. Inshallah will be installed in the new fleet. And this inshallah will help us more in driving safely. And we have a wish, I have to say, it's like a wish, and it's in my next KGOC agenda. I wish to have all JO cars to be equipped with video. You know the history, there were some challenges, laboring in some instructions or something like that. But we never quit. We always try to have the best. It is our right, I believe strongly in JO, that our cars should be monitored and controlled. Trust is good, but control is better. We know we have the best safety system in place. As David said, if we don't have safeguards, it doesn't matter. Yeah. So we always have these in mind, and we always have initiatives, honestly, to improve. Absolutely, driving is a big problem, and it's hurting us, and we don't want to see really people are being hurt. But you know the culture, and we are working closely now, inshallah, with KGOC, and I'm sure under your leadership and Yusuf, things will move in the right direction. It is challenging, but our plan really to meet these challenges and inshallah overcome them. For the drilling, I think the best guy to talk about drilling.
I just have a comment. We have hired a mobile radar in our field operations, and also KGOC, they supported us with 4 radar, mobile radars actually. 2 in 306 and the other in 309, the other one. So that we appreciate for their support.
So to answer the drilling and workover portion of the question, the challenge. I mean, last year we did have a really good year. It was actually the best year in the last 10 years from a JO standpoint. But how do we build upon that, right? So, one of the things that I realized the other day when we did our we had a JO safety stand-down, JO-wide safety stand-up. When we went out to the field and we talked to the crews, and we found that while we do, when we have incidents, we try to share the lessons learned from those incidents. But we don't always do a great job of that. We don't, our crews work rotational basis, so some crews will get the lessons learned and some crews don't. So how do we guarantee that everybody is learning from the incidents that we have? So the challenge in 2015 and beyond is to increase the learning, making sure that the lesson is getting to everybody, so that we know that all the crews are familiar with what happened on one of the rigs or in another operation, so that they can not repeat what happened. The other thing is we're better aligned among the groups. We're becoming better aligned between the drilling and workover and the OR groups. We're talking better. I think some of the incident investigations we participate on both in the joint teams and help each other out. I'm going to go back to leadership, visibility, and accountability. That was a huge focus in 2014. It's going to continue in 2015. Unless myself personally and my leadership team in the office is out in the field, along with our business partner leadership, they've heard that message from me at our own quarterly meetings. Unless they're out there showing that they care and they're interested in the work, none of these programs are. Okay? We have to get out there and show we understand what they're doing and show that we care about what they're doing. Okay? That's our focus. It's pretty simple. Right, so just as a kudos to one of our business partners, KGOC, they just reached 12 years no LT on rig 17 last week. So it can be done.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. So, Musad, I don't want you to be left out. So this next question is for you, okay? And we want some operations perspective. So we're talking about repeating lessons learned, and near misses, and so here's the question that came from the audience. What are your thoughts on ways to ensure that all near misses are recognized, reported, and I'll add and we don't repeat the same mistakes over and over again from all the previous incidents that we had. Can you speak to us for a minute about that?
Yeah, as you know that we are in joint operation, starting our meetings with safety moments or any lesson learned that we have happened within our organization or from outside of our organization. This is one of the things that we have to start with all meetings, self-management meeting or the meeting with our employees. Also, as you know that our colleagues in risk management and OE teams, they are trying to bring lesson learned from the companies, international IOCs, and make them ready for the JO team to be shared with the employees and the contractor also as well. Also, as you know, in case of any near miss or any incident happening, RCA need to be conducted and their recommendation need to be shared with all employees, and the implementation of the recommendation is a must for us as a leader. We can say also one more thing that after completing any maintenance work or any job, we have to sit together and look back to the anything happened during these activities and take the lead as the gaps which already haven't not related in the same activities which we are told to conduct in future. This is an example of what we are doing as a leader in KGOC.
Thank you. Here's a question. I'll just open it up to any of the five of you who wish to respond to it. I'll add sort of a prelude to the question. You know, we saw our stop work authority and your miss reporting is going up. We're doing better than that. So the question is, are we reporting enough of our near misses? And what can you as a leader do to ensure that we report more? So I'll open it up to any of you who wishes to respond to that. Everybody's jumping.
Well, personally, I don't think we're doing nearly enough around near misses. I mean, things are happening, but we're not classifying them as near misses. You know, it's either, you know, they'll go into the two buckets, right? An unsafe condition, you know, or a hazardous behavior, right? But you know, we've had a lot of discussion in my group around this. Is that when we discuss that, you know, something really stands out at you, you know, we're challenging each other to say, well, hey, was that really a near miss? And if it's a near miss, well, then, you know, we don't just write it on the BBS card and forget about it. We'll do something about it. Okay, we'll either do an informal investigation, you know, depending on the potential. You know, was it a dropped object? You know, and it could have resulted in, potential, you know, loss or a fatality or a serious injury, and we'll go back and we'll get the team together and do the investigation, share those lessons, right? But you know, let's see, we had 6 near misses in my group last year and 3.5 million man hours. That's not nearly enough. We had 30 near misses in JO and 20 million man hours. The ratio just doesn't seem right. Okay, I think they're happening, we're just not recognizing them. We're not putting them in, we're not treating them like they should be treated, where you get there, where you identify it as a near miss, and then you do the investigation. It doesn't have to be a full-blown 5Y tree with a huge team and everything, right? But as long as you're talking about it, and you're identifying what happened, and what you're going to do about it next time to prevent it from happening, and then sharing that widely where it's applicable. I mean, not everything is applicable to all operations, but you want to hit the people that are going to be most affected by that.
Thank you. Thank you. Something you have to comment you want to ask?
A very short comment. Sometimes we have this Korean culture, actually. This is why we developed this database, and people can access to it from outside the JO system. It's not, does not require that the person to even put his name. So this is what help us identify these near misses, incidents, accidents, violation, maybe safety. So that is, we've seen it used actually.
So near misses are a free opportunity for lessons learned without having any negative consequence because of an incident. So we need to capture those better. So we encourage you as leaders in your organization to look at ways to improve the near miss reporting. Mubarak, please.
I think we cannot have enough of near misses to report near misses and hazards. We need to report as much as we can. However, we need to concentrate on the high-risk activities because I think we have a lack of reporting the hazards on these high-risk activities. You have shown them in the presentation, which are driving, confined space entry, drilling, work overrides, excavations. These high-risk activities, we need to put more effort and focus.
Okay, Hamud, we have one that's addressed specifically to you from the audience. Okay? So, how much you give, what's safe? I'm going to rephrase this a little bit. Would you please give JO a score on our safety performance, 1 to 5, with 1 being not so good, 5 being excellent? What do you think our overall score was? Forget the specific trends, just what do you feel? How did we do last year? And then justify why you select that number, please.
These are my questions. I think this guy is following me very close. I wish I could say 5, but it's not 5 for sure. But everybody should be also pleased, that's not 1. I would say JO is in the neighborhood between 3.5 and 4. And I think we have the solid ground to go to 5. I believe we have the best system ever built for safety in the globe. It's the marriage between the famous OE system of Chevron and the famous KBC, KGOC, EHS or HSE management system. We do it there, we are on JO. So these two systems, we found the gaps in both systems and we closed them in our shears. And I think if we just pay more attention to this system, we will be fine very soon, hopefully.
Well, here's another one for you, okay? With the current drop in oil prices and headcount reductions and all that that's sweeping across the globe, the industry, how do you see that affecting our Walker Joint Operations in 2015?
I should not answer this question in the presence of Ahmed and Ali.
Of course, bearing in mind, we're asking that from preventing serious injuries and fatalities, not business
so far, really, there is no effect. I would say what we have done so far is just cost optimization. That no way that can affect safety activities, at least. We have to admit that this global trend is hurting all of us. I think the losses for producers is in hundreds of billions of dollars, already accumulated to that huge numbers. But honestly speaking, KGOC and SAC, they have not really cut anything that I would believe it's going to affect our activities. So there is some optimization, but it's not going to be affecting really anybody in JO. And if Ahmed and Ali can give more on this, because they are the owner of the money, not me.
Okay, here's an interesting question. Maybe Saki, you might want to take this one. And so I notice concentrated effort on safety, and it seems like you're forgetting the environment. In my opinion, destroying the environment is very significant, and we need to make sure we don't do that. And sure, we don't want to produce fatalities, but let's not forget the environment. So can you respond to that concept? What are we doing? Are we focusing too much on fatality prevention?
Not really, actually. We're doing a lot of things with the environment. Probably not seaway. That's the only difference. We have a lot of projects going on. One of them is the ditch irrigation, get rid of the contaminated soil. SeaGov, that's one of the projects we will see that should eliminate the layering of gas. The zero discharge is already in place. So we're doing a lot of good things. Probably the difference you couldn't see it, to be honest, but we do have. Plus we have a good team actually, led by very experienced people in our EHS division. So we're doing a lot of efforts in terms of environment.
I'm glad that question was asked because it does give an opportunity to highlight the great work that is going on with the environment. We do have situations from the past that we're remediating and correcting, and a lot of good things are happening. Thank you, Sandy. So let's see. Here's an interesting question, and I'll just open it up to anyone who wants to respond to that. If you're committed to zero incidents, we've heard that several times, zero attainable, zero fatalities. How come the topic of this forum is preventing serious injuries and not preventing injuries? Any takers?
From the figures that we have seen, and I think one of the slides you have showed us, we have a very impressive decline in our performance. While we have shown that the fatality rate in the industry is flat. That is why we concentrate in this forum in preventing serious injuries and fatalities. That does not mean we will ignore the minor risks or minor injuries. In the country, we need to concentrate on them, but we need to put more on the high risk and to avoid fatalities.
Thank you, Mubarak. Let me ask you a question that's kind of related to that theme of you as well. So one of the more common ways of causing fatal accidents is the process safety incidents. Can you maybe give the audience a description of what the difference is? We've heard the difference about personal safety versus process safety. We've heard those terms used, personal safety and process safety. Tell us what the difference is between those two, and why is process safety so significant to us?
Normally, process safety, you see it in the newspaper, and they stick in your mind from the events that happened. A very recent one, the one that Dave put, which is the Macondo, Gulf of Mexico incident, the Texas PP refinery in 2005, Piper Alpha in the 90s, the India Propel incident in the 80s, and I think we had one before 2 years in the north of Kuwait. So process safety, it concentrates on preventing the releases of hazard and toxic release. So it concentrates on the high consequences, low likelihood accident. And God forbid, when these incidents happen, the consequences will be very bad. You will have multiple injuries, substantial economical losses, environmental damages, reputational damages, and we have seen that how these incidents done to BP. Personal safety, it's the interaction between our workforce with the workplace that they are working on. And I think we are doing very well on that. So in process safety, personal safety, we need to create the culture, the safe culture of the interaction between our workforce and the workplace and the site. And this is normally done when you first you plan your work ahead of time. You will do GSA, you will do work, permit of work, you will do hazard recognition and all safety measures before doing the work. The second step, you will do it during the work, during the execution of the work. You will do hazard recognition, you will use the stop work authority and all other activities. Also, after the execution of the work, you will capture all lessons learned, you will capture new, safer ways to do your work.
So, Masine, I'd like to turn a process safety question towards you. Our main gathering center is kind of the heart of the operation, and that's where our greatest process safety risks are. We have a lot of processes in place to try and control those there. So, what are you as a leader personally doing to make sure that you reinforce process safety within the main gathering center?
You know, as an operation leader within a corporate operation organization, I have to ensure the reliability and integrity of the process safety system which we are using through the syrup system within the KGOC. This is one of the top things I have to ensure about it. Also, EHA review for the process safety system need to be conducted by the expert to ensure that the existing process safety system is intact and functional within our organization. One more thing, also I have to ensure that all necessary SOPs are available, updated, reviewed from time to time to all of our facilities. In addition to that, we have to make sure that our operational staff are well trained, and all the refresher courses need to be conducted for them from time to time to make sure that they are going to be able to operate our facilities within the safety condition. Also, one more thing, as a leader, in coordination with our colleagues in SAC and KGOC, we have to make sure that the newly hired employees that they are going to be capable and competent for the work which they are going to do when they join the Worldwide Tanks operation.
Thank you. Somebody I just handed a really good question I really like, and I'll let any of you respond to it. Remember, I think several of you have interest in this. Releasing of equipment for maintenance and inspection is a challenge. What are the jail plans to address this challenge, since it does impose a great process safety risk? We all recognize that. Good.
Well, it's less challenge now. Let's admit. In the past, yes. After being certified for syrup stage 1, I think we have a clear schedule for our equipment. The problem what we have in Wafra is that the old design. So we don't have spare or redundant systems. So sometimes, yes, sometimes we defer some equipment a couple of months or maybe 3 months, just because we don't have any. The good news that inshallah we are planning this year to have a total 1 week shutdown to really treat this issue. And we are working on it for quite some time, and hopefully in Q4 this year, we will have this to eliminate such issue. We know it is an issue; it's been an issue for quite a long time. But I think, inshallah, by the end of this year, this will not be an issue anymore.
More comments? Okay.
And the asset integrity, we have already our management approved the asset integrity management procedure. which address all high-risk equipment and integrity critical equipment. Also, we have deployed the non-conformance procedure, which will exactly address this one. I know we don't, as Abu Ahmed said, that we don't have redundancy, but when we have an equipment that it is in the schedule and we cannot release it, then the asset owner should fill this non-conformance procedure and he will escalate it up the ladder to get approval, to defer it for a specific time. So there is a procedure, it is a very strong procedure. We cannot deviate from releasing the equipment unless we have the proper approval, and we should do a risk assessment for the equipment before even bring it to our management for their approval to see if we can postpone this equipment or we should release it.
Thank you. I'm going to turn the focus a little bit away from process safety for a moment, and I'm going to take our memories back to August of 2013. And I think many of you will recall that's the month we had a fatal accident in Walker, So this question from the audience has to do with that fatal accident. I'm going to paraphrase. I'm not going to use the question exactly as they wrote it. So we implemented a lot of corrective actions after that fatal accident within the workover organization and also across the board. What are we doing today to make sure that accident doesn't happen again? What have we implemented that's still effective and still in place to make sure that doesn't happen? How do we know that's not going to happen again?
Well, it all starts with verification, right? You have the action items coming out of the fatality investigation. There was up to 15 of them. One of the biggest things is competency of our personnel to use the equipment they need, that they work with every day, and that has to do specifically in this case with the SCBAs, right? Temporary breathing apparatus to, in case of an emergency. Our workover team leader was sharing this the other day that there's independent verifications going on where people are going out to the field and discussing with the crews, having them show them that they know how to use this equipment. Okay, one of the other things is drills, right? Constant, frequent drills in these types of procedures, especially around the U.S.